What up, though? I am Jay the Gentleman. That's at JAI the Gentleman on IG and Facebook. It's Wednesday, so this is a new episode of Dear Black Gay Men podcast, and it's our short, bullshit-free step out of our comfort zone to talk about all the emotional ups and downs along the journey to happiness. Hopefully, this is our midweek reminder of how dope it is to be black gay men who love black gay men. I am Jay the Gentleman. This is Dear Black Gay Men podcast. Now let's get into the episode. I think Eartha Kitt had it right when she said,
when you fall in love, what is that to compromise about?
But a date that I went on last week has convinced me that black gay men may have taken the no compromising bit to an extreme. Have you ever been on a date and midway through you knew it wasn't going anywhere? I went out on a date with Victor. That is not his name, but that is what we will call him to keep him anonymous. We met on a dating app. The app advertises itself as a place where singles who are serious about dating go to get cuffed. We had the normal amount of conversation. We had the normal level of communication leading up to our date. He invited me out on a picnic. It was very cute. I was pleasantly surprised that he invited me out. Usually I'm the one doing the inviting. But it was great. He gave me homework to prepare for. He said, bring 2 snacks that represent who I am. And I thought that was so dope. That's so unique. I might even use that one. So true to form, because I fully believe that I am an Atlanta nigga now. I brought chicken wings. I was going to go buy like a 10-piece, extra crunchy, extra wet, lemon pepper sprinkles, but I got chicken from Publix. And then I think that represents me because I am a bigger person. These gains are gaining and protein is the way to do it. And then my other snack was Reese's peanut butter cups because I think I'm a chocolate snack. You see what I did there? So we had a good conversation. He told me that I'm a good listener. He listened to the podcast, so I felt like I had to kick my listening skills into overdrive a little bit. But then I noticed that he said one thing a couple different times in several different ways. And that's what made me kind of lean in. This date with Victor was cute, but after you've been talking for a while, sometimes the best dates are had at home in your comfy clothes, which brings us to this episode's sponsor. This episode of Dear Black Gay Men podcast is brought to you by iElevate Plus TV. iElevate Plus TV is a streaming platform curated specifically for Black LGBTQIA plus listeners. It's the home of classics like Dirty Laundry, starring Rockman Dunbar, Jennifer Lewis, and Loretta Devine, or new web series like Love and Us from screenwriter Jay Penn. iElevate Plus TV is the perfect addition to your chill date nights at the crib, watching content made especially for you. You can visit iElevatePlusTV.com to subscribe, and you can watch my interviews with the stars of Love and Us on the Dear Black Gay Men YouTube channel. The link is in the description. Now, let's get back into the show. I realized that Victor kept saying something over and over again in the conversation, which made me my ears perk up a little bit. But let me back up and give you some backstory. So the date process started like any other dating process. We texted on the app that we met on. We exchanged numbers and then had a conversation where he asked me out on a date. I think I am a good listener. I have a podcast and I talk to people for a living, so I should be a great listener. So when I heard him say the same thing, this recurring motif over and over again, I started to listen a little closer. He kept telling me that he knows what he wants. Initially, I thought that was an amazing thing, that someone is clear about what they're looking for, about what they want and what they're willing to pursue, what they're giving space for. But as he explained it to me, as Victor explained it to me, he knew what he wanted to an extent that I wasn't prepared for. He knew what he wanted to do with his man. He knew what he wanted his man to say to him. And the gotcha was he kept saying he didn't have time to waste. Then I got the lesson. Anytime someone says, I know what I want, that's the red flag. When Mother Eartha talked about compromise, she was talking about compromising oneself. who we are as individuals. It is never a good idea to change for another person. We can grow, we can evolve, we can mature. We will change at our own pace, but changing for the sake of change or compromising who we are as individuals is stinking thinking from the pits of hell. The devil is in it. Black gay men, I think, take it too far, the uncompromising, when we know, I'm using the air quotes around that, when we know what we want from another person. We paint a whole picture in our head of the relationship we want, what we're going to do with each other, how a man will make us feel, what kind of life we're going to create with this person. But then at the end of the day, there's not really any way for a man to figure out who he is with us when we have such a narrow definition of future bae. When we paint such a vivid picture of our relationship, we give no regard to who we could be in relationship with. So instead of being present on a date, instead of being present in the dating process, instead of creating an opportunity to engage authentically, we end up looking for a man to fit the mold of the boyfriend, fiance, husband that we created in our head. Knowing what we want from another person either means A, we're actively keeping a hole in our life that we want somebody else to fill. Them the girls who want to get flued out and want to get taken care of and all of those things. Or B, we're too married to the idea of relationship to ever truly engage with the other person. Either way, everything is too about you. No other person will be able to find their place in our lives and thrive when we're so focused on what we have in our head. But I think the bigger lesson is that dating in our 30s and beyond is hard as hell. We've either been in or seen enough relationships to know what we don't want, or we've had enough time and opportunities to dream about the kind of relationship we do want. But we have to know when to stop dreaming. We're in the age where we get clear every day about who we are. We're firm on our boundaries. Our no's actually mean no. And if we're really self-aware, then our yeses are a hell yeah. But self-awareness becomes toxic when we try to dictate how people show up and express in our lives. Or we only connect with people who co-sign on the narrow picture of our lives that we have in our head. I knew me and Victor weren't going to work. I knew that because his definition of relationship didn't have space for me in it. But we all create lives like that. Every time that we fall out with somebody because they say or do something that we disagree with, or when we get stuck in our feelings, when the man we're interested in tells us the truth that hurts. The through line in all of this is that we're not looking for people to give us them. We want those people to give us us. Our job as single people is to self-actualize to the extent we can, become the best versions of ourselves. Allow people to people. Create space in the future that we see for ourselves that allows potential bae to get comfortable and figure out how he could be of service to this greater thing, this greater relationship that we will build together. We have to be firm and uncompromising about who we are individually, but we have to be fully open to the we that we can become when bae arrives. So, dear Black gay men, I've said it once, I'll say it a million times. Know thyself, but leave everything else up to love. That was our show. Next time, I'm going to be recapping a date I had with somebody who's almost 15 years younger than me. You'd be surprised what happened. I am Jay the Gentleman. That's at JAI the Gentleman on IG and Facebook. If this episode made you feel a little more dope, be sure to subscribe on YouTube, like the video, and share it with someone who needs a dopeness reminder. Dear Black Gay Men Podcast is new every Wednesday. You can stream it on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And thanks in advance for a 5-star rating. It really helps us find new listeners. We go live on YouTube with our interview series, Dear Black Gay Men Live. So follow at Dear Black Gay Men on social so you never miss a thing. I am Jay the Gentleman. This has been Dear Black Gay Men Podcast, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.